ask you about each one. So is there some theme that you can take out of them? Is there something that, you and Rob tried to get across that's consistent amongst all the meetings you had?
Yeah, I think there was, a pretty consistent theme that, our players believe in our approach and our process and our preparation and our way of doing things, what our culture is about. And the belief that, we wanted to do better battling through the adversity of the injuries that we dealt with. But at the end of the day, it was too much to overcome. And, that we're hopeful to have another chance to bring it back with the same group next year.
Yeah, Frank, when you took the job, I know you spent some time thinking about, all right, offense and defense, and then that all evolved once you got Anthony Davis. Those two, I assume, still would be at the core of any kind of system, right, that you use moving forward. But did you pick anything up these last 2 years specifically that you want to bridge into next season and build upon?
You said those two, meaning?
Oh, sorry. So LeBron and AD, but as kind of the focal point, but just in terms of system, in terms of identity, defense, offense, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those two are going to be the core, and like I said, we'll see how the roster shapes up for next year, but we believe in the group that we had this year, and we'd love to have an opportunity to run it back at full strength. But obviously there's always going to be tweaks to the roster, so that stuff will play out throughout the course of the summer. But we have a system we believe in, and a process and a culture that we believe in. Obviously we want to be basically a great team on both sides of the ball. We had an excellent defensive year, and not good enough on the offensive side of the ball, especially when AD and Bron were out. And those are things that we'll look at improving in the offseason in terms of the way our offensive structure and framework, et cetera, personnel. And we all have the mindset that we're not happy with how the season ended, and we want to have a self-evaluation, look in the mirror, and see how we all can do better mindset to improve and be better next year.
Dave?
Frank, Andre was the starter from the moment he arrived to you guys off the buyout market and then didn't play in Game 6. What can you tell us about that decision in particular? Obviously, we know that you have Mark and Trez. That's the obvious part of it. But and then looking back at the time you've had with Andre thus far, how much did you feel like you were able to accomplish with him, and how much, other levels you think you could reach to with him if there is more time in the future?
Yeah, well, Trey was great for us. Let me start by saying that. We're hopeful that he's the Laker for a long time. He really played well for us and was a good culture fit. It fit in well with the guys and was very well liked. We said it all along. We were concerned about how much time we would have to build the cohesion necessary to win in the playoffs. And with AD being out, and then Bron really getting only 2 games with Drum before the playoffs began, we just didn't have that time to build a cohesiveness that we wanted. And with our backs against the wall, our team struggling to score with AD out, we looked in another direction for offense, both with Mark starting to pull Ayton away from the basket. And, we've got a proven scorer in Montrezl Harrell that we decided to go to, but it wasn't by anything that, that Drum did wrong or anything like that. Just trying to open up our offense, give ourselves the best chance to win. And, we were hoping to, my conversation with Drum was like, let's do what we feel like is best to survive this series and, continue to play out the vision that we have for you, going forward deep into the playoffs. But we weren't able to get past that Game 6.
Dan?
Hey, Frank, thanks for your patience with this process all season. Look forward to annoying you in person soon. Jason's name has come up in kind of some coaching rumors here over the last few months. What's it been like working with him these last few years? And I would assume you would strongly advocate for him if that's something he wants to do.
What's it been like? It's been wonderful. Jason's become one of my closest friends. Really a trusted advisor on my coaching staff, and someone that has just been integral to our success in the last 2 years. He should be at the top of everybody's list that has an opening in the NBA. Jason Kidd should be at the top of his list, top of their list. And I think him taking the route of wanting to learn the steps of the assistant coaching role after going right from his playing career to a head coaching career, and really just rolling his sleeves up and focusing on the work the last 2 years has been great for his career. He's carried himself with a great deal of humility over the last 2 years, and I really think he's going to be in a different position of strength, with the next opportunity that he gets.
Frank, to follow up real quickly on that, like, were his assistant coach duties like the same as anybody else's, like in terms of scouts and all of that stuff? Like he just did all of that.
100%. Yep. Grinding the film work, put together scout reports, did the pregame film, did the walkthroughs, same as the other assistants, the other bench assistants.
Thanks, Frank.
Bill?
Hey, Frank. If I understood correctly, you originally signed a 3-year contract when you came here and obviously won a championship in your first year. But that would put you going into a contract year next year. I'm wondering if you and the Lakers have had any conversations about an extension, and if that is something that you are hopeful could get done before the start of next season. Is that important to get done? What's kind of the state of your situation moving forward?
Yeah, I really just prefer those conversations to remain private. I did sign a 3-year contract. I just completed year 2, and that's where it's at. Obviously I love it here. I love this organization, and hope to be a Laker for life. But all that stuff will play out in the right time, and those conversations will remain private.
Kyle?
Frank, you had this approach last year in the playoffs that worked really well where, 3 games in, 4 games in, if a starting lineup change needed to be made or a rotation change needed to be made, you would make it then. But you try to stay consistent with your groups. Do you feel like that approach had the same desired effect this year, especially as injuries kind of took root in your group?
I think it's a different scenario. I think, Anthony Davis injury changed the series. I think what we did from game 1 to game 2, having the mindset to play with size up on Booker and Payne and Chris Paul, and by having a big up on them and Anthony on the backside, really created the environment necessary for us to beat the Phoenix Suns, hopefully, if things were to go well. And obviously that all changed when Anthony was out, and what was behind our bigs in terms of the presence defensively, and obviously the offensive problems that Anthony causes. So, I really think it's a different conversation than any playoff series we had last year, where we were dealing with the full deck and how to manage that.
Alan Sliwa?
Hey, Coach. Hoping you can describe losing in other playoff series in the past and some of your other coaching experiences to losing this season where you feel like you got the talent, feel like you have the roster, but there are things you just don't have control over, being, obviously the injuries. Can you just kind of compare some of the differences there? Of course, the series or the season ending yesterday is ultimately came down to what you guys couldn't really ever get going, which was getting healthy.
Yeah, if you're asking about my prior experiences, my teams in Indiana ultimately ended up, being ended by LeBron James and, their team down in Miami. It was very good. So we felt disappointed we didn't get over that hump, but, felt good that we gave it our best shot. This situation this year is disappointing because the early nature of it. I feel like we had a team that, at full strength could compete for a championship. And I think Phoenix does too. You know what I mean? So this is one of those series in my mind that felt like it should be played in the conference finals. To lose to that team, to me, there's no shame in that. They're a hell of a team. But to be matched up with them in the first round because of the nature of the long, lengthy absences in the regular season of Anthony and LeBron, that just puts the exit so much sooner and, makes it more disappointing.
Jovan?
Hey, Frank. How do you guys properly evaluate the roster and potential weaknesses or shortcomings you guys felt you had, given the context of the injuries and the fact that you guys weren't whole, so you weren't fully able to see what this group could have looked like if fully healthy?
We just, evaluate the individual experiences of each player that we have. And, we rely on the vision of what we would have looked like at playoff time if we were full strength, and the best sample size we have is the way we started the season. When Anthony went down, we were 21-6 and second best record in the NBA. We feel like we have a team that can compete for a championship right now as constructed. Does that mean we'll be back the same? Who knows? That's going to be up to the front office and, to decide and where we end up landing with free agents and trades and whatnot. But, we believe in the group that we have. And if we have the core of Anthony Davis and LeBron James healthy, we'll build the right supporting cast around those guys and we'll have a chance to compete for a championship again next year.